in a world ruled by tests, ranks, and appearances. One student doesn't play the game. He rewrites it. Kiyotaka Ayanokoji isn't just smart. He's terrifying. Unlike other anime protagonists, he doesn't fight for justice. He doesn't dream of greatness. He doesn't even want attention. He operates in silence, surgically precise, emotionally distant, and always 3 moves ahead. And where did this mind come from? Not from nurture. Not even from nature. It was manufactured. The White Room. A name whispered among fans like legend, layered in psychological horror, philosophical weight, and pure academic brutality. This isn't a school. It's a laboratory for human weaponry, created by Ayanokoji's father, Professor Ayanokoji. This institution strips children of identity, emotion, individuality, reducing them to test scores, pain thresholds, and intellectual obedience. Every moment in the White Room is survival. Students are denied freedom, punished for empathy, reprogrammed for domination. Ayanokoji spent 14 years inside it, and when he finally escaped, the world had no idea what it had just inherited. Most anime protagonists change. They evolve, grow, learn, emote. Not Ayanokoji. His character is built backwards, already complete, fully formed and subtly unraveling his layers over time. Viewers don't watch him change. They watch the world react to him. His classmates think he's average. Some say he's shy. Some mock him as passive. But beneath that facade lies a brain so efficient it can predict classroom politics, social dynamics, and human responses like a supercomputer. This isn't instinct. It's calculation. And it's precisely what makes his actions so terrifying. Kiyotaka doesn't smile unless he means it. His tone never rises. His body language is neutral. And his greatest weapon, appearing harmless throughout classroom of the elite. Ayanokoji manipulates dozens of high-Q students, Horikita, Ichika, Rokusuke Sakayanagi, without ever raising his voice. He gaslights gently. He persuades subtly, sets up collapses in social standing, while walking away untouched. His motto isn't victory, it's control, in classroom of the elite. Battles aren't physical. They're psychological warfare, debates over resources, GPA sabotage, class rankings, and underground alliances. And this is where Ayanokoji flourishes. In one arc, he orchestrates a multi-layered trap using false information, class hierarchy, loopholes, and emotional bait, all while pretending to be uninvolved. In another, he breaks down an entire class faction by identifying personal weaknesses and letting them destroy each other. It's brilliance disguised as passivity, and it's built on White Room conditioning. But what scares fans most isn't his intellect, it's his emptiness. Ayanokoji doesn't feel things like others do. He doesn't panic, hesitate, or even care deeply for others. Not at first. His relationships with Karuizawa and Suzune Horikita aren't based on affection, they're utility-based. And while that changes slowly over the series, it's clear he approaches humans like algorithms. He anticipates, calculates, then executes. It's not cruelty, it's detachment. And that's what makes viewers ask, is Ayanokoji still human? Asterisk, asterisk, the White Room doesn't teach. It erases, it doesn't raise children, it manufactures minds. Before Ayanokoji ever stepped foot in advanced, nurturing high school, he lived in a place that stripped away everything human. The White Room wasn't a school. It was a psychological crucible designed by his father to create the perfect intellectual weapon. And Ayanokoji wasn't the only student, but he was the only one who survived it intact. The White Room is a secret facility created by Professor Ayanokoji, a man obsessed with molding genius through absolute control, sterile, colorless, and devoid of emotional stimuli. No sunlight, no music, no affection. It's just endless tests, punishments, and psychological conditioning. Students are taught to suppress emotion, reject individuality, and prioritize logic over empathy. Failure isn't corrected, it's punished. Success isn't praised, it's expected. The goal: to produce minds capable of dominating any system, political, academic, social, without ever being noticed. Ayanokoji was the program's crown jewel. In the White Room, students aren't allowed to speak freely. They're monitored constantly. Their meals are regulated. Their sleep is timed. Failures are punished with isolation, sensory deprivation, or physical exhaustion. Over time, this creates a cognitive shift. Emotions become liabilities. Relationships become distractions. Identity becomes irrelevant. Ayanokoji learned to suppress everything: joy, fear, anger, even curiosity. He became a vessel for logic, mind that could calculate outcomes without bias, strategist who could manipulate without guilt. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He doesn't hesitate. Ayanokoji's emotional detachment isn't strength, it's trauma. He doesn't connect with others because he was never allowed to. He doesn't express affection because he was punished for it. His calm demeanor isn't confidence, it's survival. This is why his relationships with Horikita, Kai, and Ichinose feel hollow at first. He doesn't know how to care, he only knows how to use. And while fans admire his intellect, many fear his emptiness. Because what happens when a mind is powerful? It has no moral compass. Overlay heartbeat monitor flatlining as he answers questions with robotic precision. Cut to present day. Ayanokoji walking through school corridors. Classmates laughing around him, he remains silent. Professor Ayanokoji isn't just a parent. He's a designer. His goal was never to raise a son. It was to create a successor, someone who could infiltrate society and reshape it from within. He views emotion as weakness, compassion as failure. And when Ayanokoji begins showing signs of independence, he sees it as betrayal. Their relationship is chilling. There's no warmth, no pride, just expectation. And that's why Ayanokoji's escape from the White Room isn't freedom, it's rebellion. But even outside, his conditioning remains. Asterisk, he didn't walk into advanced nurturing high school to make friends. He walked in to disappear. After escaping the White Room, Kiyotaka Ayanokoji enters the prestigious advanced nurturing high school, a government-run institution designed to cultivate Japan's future elite. But unlike other students, he doesn't arrive with ambition. He arrives with a plan. To vanish, advanced nurturing high school isn't ordinary. It's a microcosm of Japan's social hierarchy, divided into 4 classes, A through D, each ranked by performance, behavior, and contribution. Students are given points as currency. Everything from food to privileges is earned. It's a system built on meritocracy in Ayanokoji. He chooses Class D, the lowest tier. Why? Because it's the perfect camouflage. From day one, Ayanokoji blends in. He speaks softly. He avoids eye contact. He lets others lead. 2 classmates, he's forgettable. 2 teachers, he's average. Behind the scenes, he's tracking everything: personalities, weaknesses, alliances, and patterns. He doesn't want to rise through the ranks. He wants to control them without ever being seen. Yuzi Yune Horikita is cold, intelligent, and obsessed with climbing to Class A. She's also emotionally rigid, a trait Ayanokoji immediately identifies. He befriends her, not out of empathy, but utility. She becomes his front, the face of his strategies, the voice of his plans. He feeds her ideas, lets her take credit. Kei uses her ambition to mask his own. It's manipulation disguised as mentorship. And Horikita never sees it. Karuizawa is different. She's emotional, insecure, and desperate for validation. Ayanokoji sees her not as a pawn, but as a test. He manipulates her through fear, protection, and subtle dominance. He becomes her confidant, her shield, and eventually, her controller. Their relationship is complex. Kei begins to trust him. She opens up. She shows vulnerability, and Ayanokoji, he listens but never reciprocates. Because for him, emotions are data. Kai is a case study. What makes Ayanokoji terrifying isn't what he says, it's what he doesn't. He rarely speaks unless necessary. He never reveals his full thoughts. And when confronted, he deflects with calm indifference. This silence isn't shyness. It's tactical ambiguity. It keeps enemies guessing, allies confused, and viewers unsettled. Because silence in Ayanokoji's world is louder than words. He doesn't dominate with strength. He dominates with silence. With precision, with power you never see coming. Ayanokoji doesn't just play the game, he rewrites the rules. His manipulation isn't flashy. It's invisible. He doesn't threaten, he doesn't plead. He simply moves pieces until the board belongs to him, and the terrifying part. No one realizes it until it's too late. Ayanokoji's tactics mirror real-world power dynamics especially. Those found in Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, he embodies several key laws. Law 1. Never outshine the master. He lets Horikita take credit, shielding his own influence. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. His goals are never stated, only inferred. Law 6. Court attention at all costs, but only when it serves a purpose. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally, as seen in his dismantling of Rokusuke and Ruen. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. He finds emotional pressure, points and exploits them. He doesn't just follow these laws, he embodies them. Rokusuke Ruen is loud, aggressive, and rules Class C through intimidation. He's everything Ayanokoji isn't: visible, emotional, and impulsive. And that's why he loses. Ayanokoji dismantles Ruen not with fists until the very end, but with psychological traps. He leaks false information, manipulates alliances, and isolates Ruen until his empire crumbles. Then, and only then, does Ayanokoji confront him physically, not to win, but to prove a point that even brute force bows to superior calculation. Ayanokoji's greatest strength isn't manipulation, it's strategic dominance. He doesn't just win battles, he orchestrates entire arcs, setting up conflicts, controlling outcomes, and walking away untouched. His fingerprints are everywhere, but no one sees them. He's the ghost in the machine, the mind behind the curtain. And that's why fans call him. It's terrifying because he doesn't need power. He is power. Asterisk, he doesn't feel like us. He doesn't connect like us. But somewhere beneath the silence, is there a heartbeat? Ayanokoji's mind is a fortress. But even fortresses have cracks. In Classroom of the Elite, those cracks begin to form through his relationships. Not with rivals, but with the few people who get close enough to test his emotional armor. Kai isn't just a classmate. She's a mirror, reflecting everything Ayanokoji doesn't understand about emotion. She's expressive, insecure, reactive, and that's exactly why he chooses her. At first, the relationship is transactional. He protects her from bullies. She becomes his informant. But over time, something shifts. Kai begins to trust him. She opens up. She shows fear, hope, even affection. And Ayanokoji, he listens. But does he care? Horikita is different from Kai. She's cold, rational, and emotionally guarded, much like Ayanokoji himself. Their relationship is built on mutual utility. He guides her. She executes his plans. But beneath the surface, there's tension. Horikita begins to question him, challenge him, and slowly, she becomes more than a pawn. She becomes a variable. Ayanokoji doesn't manipulate her the way he does others. He respects her mind, and that respect might be the closest thing he feels to connection. So, is Ayanokoji capable of love, of friendship, of empathy? The series never gives a clear answer. That ambiguity is what makes him so compelling. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. It's a product of trauma, conditioning, and isolation. But through Kai's vulnerability and Horikita's challenge, we begin to see flickers of something else, not warmth, but curiosity. Ayanokoji starts asking questions, not out loud, but through action. He protects, He listens. He hesitates. And in those moments, fans begin to wonder, is he changing? Ayanokoji's emotional control is legendary. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't panic. He doesn't react. But control isn't the same as absence. And that's the core of his arc. He's not emotionless. He's numb. And through his interactions with Kai and Horikita, that numbness begins to thaw slowly, painfully. And without fanfare, it's not a redemption arc. It's a humanization arc.